Have you ever stopped to wonder what's really happening inside your brain when you fall in love? That spark of desire, that deep connection. What's actually driving it? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and unpack the powerful biological and psychological forces that are secretly running our romantic lives. It's a question pretty much all of us have asked at some point. Why do I keep ending up in the same kind of relationship, time and time again? It can feel like bad luck or just pure chance, but the answer is actually wired deep, deep inside our nervous system, and it all starts way back in our earliest moments. And this quote right here, this is the key to the whole thing. The neural pathways we use for love as adults, they aren't built from scratch. Our brains literally take the wiring from our childhood, the bond with our caregivers, and just repurpose it. It's a little wild to think about, but understanding this is crucial for everything that comes next. So let's explore that blueprint. Back in the 1980s, a researcher named Mary Ainsworth came up with this brilliant experiment to see exactly how these patterns get formed. And what she found gives us this incredible window into the very foundation of our relationship styles. It was called the strange situation, and the setup was simple but genius. A caregiver and a child go into a room with a stranger. Then, the researchers watch what happens when the caregiver leaves, and, this is the important part, how the child reacts when the caregiver comes back. And those reactions reveal 4 very distinct patterns of attachment. So first up, we have secure attachment. These kids totally feel confident that their caregiver is reliable. They get upset when the parent leaves, of course, but when they return, the child is happy, they're quickly calmed down, and everything's good again. This builds this amazing foundation of trust for relationships later in life. Next is the anxious avoidance style. Now, these children seem to almost ignore the caregiver. They don't show much emotion when they leave or when they come back. It's not that they don't care, but they've learned to suppress their feelings. And this often translates into an adult who values independence above all else and keeps people at an emotional distance. Then you've got the anxious ambivalence style. These kids are often super distressed even before the parent leaves. And when the caregiver comes back, they're clingy, but they're also really hard to soothe. They might even act resentful. It's that classic, come here, now go away, push-pull for connection. And finally, there's the disorganized style. This is kind of a mix of avoidant and anxious behaviors. These children just seem confused, almost like their wiring is short-circuited. They might freeze up or show other odd behaviors because they just don't have a clear strategy for handling the stress. So this table really breaks it down nicely, doesn't it? Secure kids are upset, but then they're fine. Avoidant kids play it cool. Ambivalent kids are clingy but also push away, and disorganized kids are just confused. Recognizing which of these feels a little too familiar is really the first big step to understanding your own relationship patterns. Okay, so that's our psychological blueprint from childhood. But what about that initial spark, that raw, undeniable chemistry? Well, let's shift gears and look at the invisible biological forces that are constantly influencing our choices, usually without us having a clue. To really get how powerful our biology is, you have to hear about the study. It's pretty wild. Researchers had women wear the same t-shirt for a few days during different parts of their menstrual cycle. Then they had men smell those shirts and simply rate how attractive the scent was. Sounds weird, I know, but the results were absolutely staggering. And the results were crystal clear. Men consistently and significantly rated the scent of women who were in their pre-ovulatory phase, that is, when they're most fertile, as the most attractive. This is our ancient evolutionary wiring in action, folks. Invisible chemical signals, or pheromones, are sending powerful, unconscious messages about who might be a good mate. Biology is quietly playing matchmaker. So, that chemical attraction gets us in the door. But what builds a real, lasting bond? Well, it turns out our brain has a kind of operating system for connection, and it's made up of 3 core neural circuits that all have to work together. So here they are, the big 3. First, you've got the autonomic nervous system. Think of it like a seesaw, constantly balancing you between feeling calm and feeling alert. Second are your empathy circuits, which is your ability to literally feel what another person is feeling. And third, and this one's my favorite, are the positive delusion circuits. This is the neurochemical magic fueled by hormones like oxytocin that makes you believe your partner is just better than everyone else. Now, these 3 circuits are absolutely essential for building a strong bond. But when they start to malfunction, the whole relationship can come crashing down. And researchers have gotten so good at spotting these cracks in the code, they can predict failure with, well, with almost terrifying accuracy. Take a look at that number, 94%. Researchers John and Julie Gottman can predict if a couple will divorce with 94% accuracy just by watching them interact for a few minutes. And how do they do it? Here's the kicker. They're not looking for disagreements. They're looking for specific toxic behaviors that show those core circuits are breaking down. They call these behaviors the four horsemen. You've got criticism, which is an attack on your partner's character. Defensiveness, which is basically refusing to take responsibility. Stonewalling, which is just complete emotional shutdown. But the absolute most powerful predictor, the deadliest one, is contempt. That feeling that you're somehow better than your partner. It is the sulfuric acid of love. It just dissolves empathy and positive delusion. Okay, I know. Hearing all this can feel a little fatalistic, like our childhood and our biology have sealed our fate. But this right here is the single most important part of this whole explainer. Your brain is not set in stone. You have the power to change. And this is the beautiful part. It's all thanks to something called neuroplasticity. This is your brain's incredible ability to physically rewire itself based on your experiences and your choices. And the circuits for love and attachment are surprisingly flexible. So what this means is that no matter what your attachment style is, no matter what your past patterns are, you can actively build a more secure way of connecting with people. So how do you actually do it? Well, here's a simple science-backed toolkit. First, you've got to identify your own pattern. Are you more avoidant, more anxious? Second, learn to calm your own nervous system, that seesaw. A simple trick is the physiological sigh. A double inhale through the nose followed by a long exhale through the mouth. It works instantly. Third, start consciously choosing partners who make you feel safe. And finally, and this is the big one, you have to truly believe that your brain can change, because it absolutely can. Look, this knowledge is incredibly empowering. It takes you from being a passenger in your own love life to being the driver. So the question isn't if you can change, but what you want to work on first. Knowing what you know now, that your brain is literally waiting for new instructions, what's the very first connection you'll choose to rewire?